The deal was a terrible deal. The Washington establishment sold the American people down the river. It provided no relief for the millions of people who were hurting because of Obamacare. But it is worth also focusing on what did happen, because a lot, I think, was accomplished in the last couple of months. Number one, the public debate over the harms that Obamacare is inflicting. It elevated the public debate, and that is critically important.
People hated this shutdown. They hated this impasse, and this was seen as the Ted Cruz shutdown. You, more than any single individual, were seen as the one that triggered this crisis to begin with.
John, I agree that a lot of D.C. politicians tried to call it that, and a lot of the media did too. But
talking about public opinion nationally.
Look, let me be very clear. I said throughout this, we shouldn't have a shutdown. I don't want a shutdown. I repeatedly voted to open the government.
There never would have been a shutdown if you hadn't gone with this strategy of saying we're not even going to fund the government for 6 weeks
and you know
unless we can defund Obamacare.
You know what, John? There never would have been a shutdown if Harry Reid and President Obama hadn't said we will not compromise, we will not negotiate, shut the government down.
How much do your colleagues just despise you right now on the floor? I mean, I hear some really strong language from your own fellow Republican senators.
I think it's obvious that we are now seeing the end of this agonizing odyssey. It's one of the more shameful chapters that I have seen.
Listen,
you made some enemies in this battle.
There's an old saying that politics, it ain't beanbag. And I'm not serving in office because I desperately needed 99 new friends in the U.S. Senate. Given the choice between being reviled in Washington, D.C. and appreciated in Texas, or reviled in Texas and appreciated in Washington, I would take the former 100 out of 100 times.
You did a radio interview where you compared Senate Republicans to an Air Force going over and bombing their own troops, bombing conservatives, bombing House conservatives.
And when you've got half the Senate Republican caucus firing their cannons at the House Republicans, it sabotages the effort. The reason this deal, the lousy deal, was reached is because, unfortunately, Senate Republicans made the choice not to support House Republicans.
You're saying more than that, though. You're saying that not only did they not support House conservatives, that they attacked House conservatives, House Republicans.
Well, and I think that was unfortunate. I think it was unfortunate that you saw multiple members of the Senate Republicans going on television, attacking House conservatives, attacking the efforts to defund Obamacare, saying it cannot win, it's a fool's errand, we will lose, this must fail. That is a recipe for losing the fight. And it's a shame. We didn't win this battle, but I am encouraged that we have demonstrated when the American people stand up, the House of Representatives will listen, and I hope in time the Senate will listen also.
What next? We have another deadline. Government funding runs out on January 15th. Will you rule out pushing to the brink of another shutdown by saying you would block funding for the government unless Obamacare is defunded? Will you do that again?
I would do anything, and I will continue to do anything I can to stop the train wreck that is Obamacare. What I intend to do is continue standing with the American people to work to stop Obamacare, because it isn't working, it's costing people's jobs, and it's taking away their health care.